Guy Harvey. Guy Harvey is a very famous artist. He is he's been in business for an awful long time, and he's very famous. And what he does, he makes shirts like this with fish on them, and fish on the back of the shirts. And this is what he has been doing for many years. And he's got paintings that he sells for an awful lot of money. I went to a Guy Harvey restaurant one day, and they had paintings on the wall, not lithographs, but paintings, and they had prices on them like $25,000. This is how famous this guy is. He is so famous. And anybody on the East Coast that are fishermen, anybody that has anything to do with fishing or the ocean or anything, we all have these Guy Harvey t-shirts. And he's been doing this for an awful long time. And I was in Florida, and I was down in the Florida Keys, and I found this place called Robbie's. And what it was, the guy owned this little piece of land right on the water, and he had a long boat dock sticking off.
What?
Boat dock. A dock.
A boat what?
A dock that you...
Dock. Okay.
That you...
He had a long dock.
Yeah, a dock.
Okay.
Long dock where you bring your boats in and tie them up. And what he would do, and he's been doing this for over 40 years, he's been feeding these big fish. They're called tarpon. And some of these fish are 8 feet long. And what he does is people would come down there, they know about this place, and they want to go out on the dock, and they want to see these tarpon. And he's got hundreds of tarpon that come in there every single morning. And people come down there and they pay a couple of dollars, and they walk out on the dock, and they take pictures of these fish, and they're excited about the fish. And if you give him a couple more dollars, he'll give you a little bucket of fish, these little fish that you take out there. And you take the fish and you throw it in the water, and you see the big tarpon come up and grab the fish. And people are taking pictures, really enjoying this what's going on here. And as a matter of fact, you could take one of the fish and hold it right down on the water, and the tarpon will come up and take it out of your hand. And one day I was down there, and I see this guy, and he reaches over with this fish, holding it right over the water, and this 8-foot tarpon came up and took his arm right up to his elbow and sucked it down, man, and it scared the heck out of this guy. Now the tarpon, they don't have big teeth like a shark, so he didn't rip his arm off or nothing. He just scared the heck out of this guy. He was like, whoa, man. He jumped out of the water, and I started laughing because it was so funny that this guy got so scared by this fish. But of course the fish didn't hurt him, but it scared the heck out of him.
I'd be scared.
Yeah. And that's what this guy had. He had this place, and he'd been doing this for over 40 years. People coming down there feeding the tarpon, and they come in there every single morning. Hundreds of tarpon come in there because they've been doing it for so long. So I go down there one weekend with my family. And what he does, he also rents these little aluminum boats. So I went down there with my family, and we rented one of his little aluminum boats, and we went out scuba diving all day long. And we had a wonderful time scuba diving. So then we come back to the dock, and we get up to the dock, and we're unloading the boat up onto the dock, all of our stuff, all our scuba gear and everything. And then I had a computer, a little computer. It was an underwater dive computer. It was worth about $350, and I set it up on the dock, and my daughter kicked it and knocked it in the water. And I went, oh, well, there's no current here, so I'm not worried about getting it swept away. I said, I'll get it in a minute, don't worry about it. So we unloaded the boat, and I jump in the water with my snorkel, and I'm looking for my computer, and this guy comes running down the dock, screaming at the top of his lungs at me, get out of the water, get out of the water, get out of the water. And I'm going, what the hell's going on? So he comes down there, and he's right above me, and he's going, you got to get out of the water. He goes, this is my business, and you're going to scare the fish away. You got to get out of the water. I looked up at him, and I said, I tell you what, man, I said, I just dropped something down here that's worth about $350, and I'm going to find it. He goes, well, you can't do it now. You're messing up my business. You know, this is a business I got going here. He goes, I tell you what, we close at 5 o'clock. You can come back at 5 o'clock and try to find whatever it is you're looking for. and there won't be a problem. I said, okay. I didn't want to fight the man, so I said, no problem. You know, we're gonna go have some lunch, and I'll come back after 5 o'clock. So my family and I, we went off and we had lunch, and we came back after 5 o'clock. And what I did, I put my scuba tank on, and I jumped off the dock into the water, and these fish, these big fish, are swimming all around me. They're going under my arms, between my legs. They're bumping into me, and it's kind of neat what I was getting into here. It was really nice. I wasn't scaring these fish at all. They were all just enjoying me being there. And so I'm down there just hanging out with them, and all of a sudden I look down, I see my computer. So I grab my computer, everything is fine. So I just hung out a while with these fish, and they, like I said, they're just bumping into me and swimming all around me, and I'm thinking this is really cool. So then I come up to the top of the surface, and I look up, and this guy's walking down the dock, real casual like, and he comes down to me, and I crawl up out of the water. I get up on the dock, and he comes down to me and goes, I'm really sorry I was yelling at you earlier today, but you got to realize that this is my business, you know, and I can't have you doing what you were doing. And I said, well, I said, no problem, man. I said, I found my computer. Everything is fine. You know, life goes on. Things are good. And he goes, well, you're only the second guy I've ever let do this. And I looked up at him. I go, who was the first? He says, Guy Harvey. Guy Harvey came down there and jumped in the water and was scuba diving with these tarpon, and he was taking pictures of them. And then he would take them back to his place, and he would paint them. So that's what he was doing down there. And so as far as I'm concerned, me and Guy Harvey are the only two people that have ever dove with the tarpon at Robbie's.